Thank you all for coming. I really appreciate you being here. My name is Karen Feridun. I'm the co-founder of the Better Path Coalition and No False Climate Solutions, the two groups that put this event together today. And what you see behind you, if you haven't been here for more than a minute, is an AI jobs fair where only robots are in attendance. There's a poster over there that says no humans allowed or humans need not apply. But we're doing that to make a point. And that is a couple of points, really, is that, there's so many concerns about data centers, and you're going to hear a lot about them since that's the hot topic in Pennsylvania right now. But behind all of that is AI. And people have plenty of concerns about that too, because there have been lots of announcements about jobs that are being cut. For instance, Amazon, the company that Governor Shapiro boasts about making $20 billion in deals with for 2 data centers, already announced this fall that they're cutting 14,000 jobs. And at the same time that they said that they're going to be not hiring 600,000 people over the next couple of years because they're deploying robots. And so it's very concerning about what is going to happen to people's jobs, what they're going to do for a living. So that's a huge concern in and of itself. We thought we would open with that by making this point with our jobs fair and our robots here today, who are also imperfect. And that's the other point. They're stumbling around, walking into tables, because robots actually aren't humans. But we need to remember that. Anyway, I want to invite you up to Governor Shapiro's office when we're done here. We're going to deliver a statement that's been signed by more than 3,000 individuals and 69 organizations as of the last count. People keep signing up. But we'll give that to Governor Shapiro's office after this event. And you're welcome to come with us. But I have a few speakers who have very important messages I want you to hear before that, and we're going to open with Ginny Marcille-Kerslake from Food and Water Watch. She's a senior organizer. And then we're going to hear from Annika van Rossum with the Delaware Riverkeeper Network, where she's the advocacy and advancement coordinator. New title, sorry, my fault. And then we're going to hear from Raina Rippel, who's the executive director of Communitopia. And then we'll hear from Maya van Rossum, who's the Delaware Riverkeeper, but she also wears another hat, and that's the one she's wearing today, and that is as the founder of Green Amendments for the Generations, a very, very important topic and group and effort. And so we're going to get started right now with Ginny, and you can just pass on to each other, but here's the mic. You should hold on. Hold on to that one. It's their mic.
Thanks, Karen. As Karen said, my name is Ginny Marcille-Kerslake. I'm a resident of Chester County, Pennsylvania, and I'm senior organizer for Food and Water Watch Pennsylvania. I'm going to speak about what's happening right now on the ground in communities across Pennsylvania where I've been working for the past 7 months with these communities that are being targeted by big tech and energy corporations for this AI data center build out. These corporations want our land, water, and energy resources for their own financial gain with little or no regard for the devastating impacts to our communities and the environment. And they're being lured here by a government elected to represent us, but instead has been handing out lucrative tax breaks and promises of fast-track state permits. They're targeting some of our most beautiful and treasured places in Pennsylvania, offering over $200,000 per acre for land that normally sells for about $7,000 per acre, and making backroom deals and false promises of jobs, funding for schools, and so-called community benefit agreements. What we are seeing can only be described as predatory. Pennsylvania is in the early days of what we've already seen devastate parts of Virginia. Right now, these corporations are making attempts to rezone land and change municipal ordinances in order to open the door for their massive build-out. We're talking hundreds or thousands of acres for each data center project, and much of this land is agricultural, residential, or office park. This would consume farmland, destroy treasured view sheds, and put this heavy industrial use in close proximity to homes. So what's happening in response? Pennsylvanians are saying, hell no, united across party lines in strong opposition to AI data centers. I can tell you, they are showing up in unprecedented numbers to municipal meetings again and again, night after night, filling rooms to overflowing, staying for hours to have their voices heard. Municipalities are having to reschedule meetings and find larger venues to accommodate this huge turnout. In addition to stopping land grabs by the industry, people across Pennsylvania are pushing their local governments to be proactive and enact data center zoning ordinances designed to protect their communities and the environment. But quite honestly, it's like drinking from a fire hose right now. These communities are not AI ready. Pennsylvania is not AI ready. We need our state legislators to do their jobs to protect people and the environment. We do not need state bills that put lipstick on this pig. And even worse, we do not need state bills that take away local control of zoning for data centers or power generating facilities to fuel them. What we need is a statewide moratorium to allow local governments the time to develop and pass ordinances and zoning for this new industrial use, and for our state agencies to put strong regulations in place to protect Pennsylvanians. We need a moratorium, and we need it now. Thank you.
Hi there. My name is Annika Van Rossum, and I am the Advocacy and Advancement Coordinator at Delaware Riverkeeper Network, and I am here on behalf of our nearly 30,000 members in the Delaware River watershed. When fracking and natural gas production was first introduced, we were all promised it was just a bridge fuel to buy time until we could all rely on clean, renewable energy. We were told it was the perfect solution to wait for. But yet again, somehow, some way, so many years later, the fossil fuel companies have found their latest foothold to keep out of the red, and that's providing the main power source to data centers throughout the Commonwealth. This summer, we saw our communities and our environment and our climate goals tossed aside when it was announced that billions of dollars would be invested into natural gas generation, as well as making Pennsylvania a hub for data centers. A correlation that became exponentially clear when proposal after proposal of data centers required dozens of natural gas generators and power from the grid that we don't have the renewables to meet, but they're certainly going to try to find the natural gas to meet it. Governor Shapiro, Pennsylvania representatives, Pennsylvania senators, all you have to do is go to any single community where a data center is proposed and see the outpour of people showing up like never before saying no, no, no. And I ask the same question that we asked during the fracking fight as well, is are you listening? In Pennsylvania, fracking companies can still withhold names of chemicals they deem proprietary. Families awake in the middle of the night seeing flares out their window, having trouble breathing, headaches, dizziness, and sudden nosebleeds with no explanation. A trip to the doctor brings news that someone has cancer that's never before been seen in their family, that has lived in the same county and the same town for generation after generation. And the only thing that is different is that new fracking gas well pad. When, Governor Shapiro and Pennsylvania legislators, will you be done espousing fossil fuel talking points about data centers and start seeing that human lives are being put at risk, just as they have been every time fracking has come into a different community? Enough is enough. It's time to pick science and facts over line items and false promises. Data centers perpetuate the fossil fuel industry. They rob communities of necessary water resources. They emit harmful noise and air emissions with devastating health consequences. And data centers push us farther away from our climate goals, where every 1/10 of a degree in increase in warming pushes us closer to irreversible disasters. It's time to pick people over profit. It's time to pick people over robots. And the simple fact is that a data center for some means no environment for the rest of us.
Hello, and I am here speaking on behalf of my residents in Washington County, as much as the job I now have as Executive Director of Communitopia, but also because I was the founding director of the Environmental Health Project and worked for many years on fracking and public health impacts. So for 15 years, I have lived in Washington County, and in that time, I have witnessed and documented the metastatic growth of fracking and related pipelines snaking like toxic veins through formerly rural communities. Prior to fracking's onslaught, my in-laws dealt with catastrophic ongoing subsidence from coal mining, which is how I met my husband. Our 3 children have grown up during this fracking buildout, somewhat blissfully unaware and carefully kept away from the encroaching industrial development that looms above their grandparents' house and threatened the safety of our first home when they were born. I know firsthand the ugly truth of fracking from stories shared in sick, frightened residents' living rooms, from helping create some of the earliest research documenting the countless environmental health harms that occurred. Fracking has made us sick. The workers' health issues are a class action lawsuit waiting to happen. Now, a data compound is proposed across the road from my in-laws' property. 1,550 acres, up to 46 proposed buildings, each close to or larger than the size of a Walmart. 46 data center buildings. Essentially, 46 superstores. A data center campus, not a college campus, as no higher learning of students will occur here. Based on what we know has happened in Virginia, this could initially be a ghost town of empty buildings waiting post-construction for the massive energy resources and water resources needed to fulfill artificial intelligence's insatiable appetite for energy, paid for by us. Water taken from local farmers, local jobs taken by AI-fueled automation's inevitable impacts. The 24/7 noise alone from this development may be enough to sicken nearby residents and will inevitably depress property values for these residents. For what? For who? For artificial intelligence? Benefiting who? And when? And how? In a December 3rd article in Public Source, CMU master's student Simi Olusola Ajaya noted, "I work with tech clients, attend their AI conferences, and can tell you, AI won't solve our problems unless we address the power structures that determine who benefits." In early November, I attended the 2025 Tech Ethics Symposium at Duquesne University, Staying Human in the Age of AI, which featured undergrad and grad student posters and panel presentations on this topic through the lens of Duquesne's Puritan tradition of working towards the greater good. Both Olusola Ajaya's article and the panelists and poster sessions at this event confirmed for me that we are hurtling towards a massive technology build-out and adoption which we barely understand and are only somewhat in control of. I've seen this happen firsthand. I'm aware rural areas will be swept up in a flurry of development and left high and dry after the boom and bust cycle ends. Will we use all of these data centers or will we overbuild? And most importantly, what will 500 more methane gas wells do to the rural landscape of Pennsylvania and the health of our residents? A tiny silver lining might be found in robust community benefits agreements, which could go a very, very little way towards protecting nearby community members from the negative impacts of these data centers. In areas without zoning, which is where many of these may end up, there will be no benefits, no agreements. Rural communities will be left to fend for themselves and bewildered will ask the Commonwealth and Pennsylvania's regulatory agencies, How could this be happening? Why isn't there anyone interested in protecting us? Who let this happen? And how can we recover from this devastating impact? AI can easily generate horror stories and also a sense of inevitability that this age of augmented humans must happen. For better or worse, Pennsylvania is on the cusp of a steep, slippery slope, at the bottom of which we may find heaps of disgruntled, sick, or even fleeing rural residents. This exodus has already happened with fracking, but once exposed, the after effects may be inescapable. And if they cannot move away or do not want to, stay and face the costs. And billionaires up top will reap the benefits. Is this what the Commonwealth truly wants?
Hello, I'm Maya Van Rossum. I'm the Delaware Riverkeeper, and I'm the founder of the Green Amendments for the Generations Movement. And I am very, very human. Pennsylvanians are not robots. We are not machines that are run by artificial intelligence. We are wonderful, breathing, awesome, real, living people. We are people who have children and mothers and fathers and sisters and brothers and friends and neighbors and communities and elements of nature that we love and cherish and will fight to protect with every fiber of our being. We are people who need and have a right to pure water, clean air, and healthy environments, to a safe and stable climate system, to healthy natural resources that support and nurture every aspect of our lives. Our right to a healthy environment and natural resources protected by our government are not just rights that we hold in our hearts or that we hope one day to enjoy. Here in Pennsylvania, these are constitutional rights protected by Article 1, Section 27 of our state constitution, the Pennsylvania Green Amendment. Governor Shapiro, along with every other Pennsylvania government official, is obligated to respect and protect these rights. These are rights that are being put in jeopardy by Governor Shapiro's blind pursuit of AI, data centers, and fossil fuel dominance. AI data centers and fossil fuels consume the healthy water we people need, taking the water from our homes, our communities, and our natural environment and feeding it to industries who have no regard for its life-sustaining value. AI, data centers, and fossil fuels spew pollution into our air, taking people's health and sometimes their very lives. They attack our senses with never-ending noise and overwhelming light, creating constant health-harming, life-altering irritants. They are destroying the precious and beautiful nature that Pennsylvanians enjoy and cherish and have fought hard to protect from unrelenting industrial harm. By supporting AI, data centers, and fossil fuel extraction, government officials and Governor Shapiro are sacrificing real people for profits and robots and political ambition. It was in response to the overwhelming and unrelenting harm inflicted. It was in response to overwhelming and unrelenting environmental harm inflicted by industry that Pennsylvania passed the first constitutional Green Amendment in the nation. And we are not about to step aside while Pennsylvania government officials, including Governor Shapiro, disregard and desecrate our natural environment and our inalienable human and constitutionally protected right to a clean, safe, and healthy environment in order to serve another dirty fossil fuel industry and their own political ambitions.
Thank you very much. just wanted to tell you before we take your questions that we will be going up to Governor Shapiro's office next. So again, you're invited to come up with us. We also have QRs all over the place that lead you to a web page that has a link to our press release on it. So a lot of you, we have emails for, we've sent it out to you, but if you don't have one, that you've given to us, then please feel free to just, use the QR to get to the press release, and you can see the web page we have for today. So with that, we're going to start taking your questions, but it looks like there's something going on over here. Let me just, oh, it looks like robots are replacing the recruiters as we speak. Oh my gosh. Oh, wow. Well, people are being fired, robots are replacing them right now. I'm so sorry for the interruption. So it looks like robots are doing the recruiting now. Well, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but it seems like something's amiss. But we're happy to take your questions if you have any. And, oh, go ahead.
Are there any states that you feel like should be an example to Pennsylvania in terms of
A negative example, Virginia. But, I mean, right now, it seems to be coming here so fast, and, things are happening so quickly. So we have to do everything we can to protect Pennsylvania, look for those individual examples. I don't know, Ginny, you've been closer to some of that work than I have. I don't know if you know of a good state to point to, but right now it just feels like we're being steamrolled. So the one place that we had a webinar actually last week with Representative Jamie Walsh and Senator Katie Muth. Jamie Walsh went to Virginia to see it firsthand, and he made a documentary that he has on his website. So, it's really the negative example that's maybe the more compelling one this time. Any other questions? I know our speakers are happy to speak with you if you'd like to do any interviews. Oh, Maya?
So Donald Trump has called for a prohibition on any state addressing data centers within their state. Is Governor Shapiro joining forces with Donald Trump to allow data centers to advance in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania?
I have not heard his stance on that yet. I'll be interested to hear what he has to say, because what's been going on is that Donald Trump tried to put it into the big, beautiful bill, and it was removed. And then he said he was going to do an executive order, and then that didn't happen. So now the latest I had heard was that they were going to put it into the National Defense Authorization Act. But just like the last couple of days now, I'm hearing him talking about executive orders again. So I think it remains to be seen what it says. We have a terrible governor when it comes to energy policy in general and data centers. He couldn't be more enthusiastic about them. He took $92 billion from Donald Trump in Pittsburgh in July to put more of them in Pennsylvania. So, I think as much as he's conflicted about him because he complains about him a lot, he's certainly not conflicted on this issue. So it'll be interesting to see what Governor Shapiro has to say. We'll watch him closely. Are there any other questions? Again, I know our speakers will be happy to speak to members of the press if you'd like to do any interviews after. Otherwise, we're going to head up to Governor Shapiro's office now. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you. And oh my gosh, it looks that our recruiters tried to dress like robots and go, oh my gosh, that's so sad. They got caught. I'm so sorry. Ay, ay, ay. Such an unfortunate state of affairs. Well, anyway, thank you so much for being here, and we'll see you up at Governor Shapiro's office. Otherwise, thank you for being with us today, and we'll see you soon, because we'll be back.